Monday, January 30th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Lot to talk about here. Looks like a significant pattern change on the way as we get into February, and we'll get into that. I'll spend a lot of time in on that portion of the forecast cycle coming up in today's edition of the video. But we'll talk about this week too. A lot of uncertainty as we get toward the weekend. Let's take a look at the radar imagery this morning. The forecast the next few days, very cut and dry around here. It's going to be a very quiet pattern for us, and a pronounced warming trend coming up over the next few days too. Look at all this milder air sitting here over the southern plains, and as high pressure slides offshore, we're going to get a very well-established southwest flow that's going to make the eastern part of the country very mild here as we head into the midweek period before some big changes occur thereafter. So here's the upper air chart today, a zonal flow west to east across the southern part of the country, and that's going to help to push that milder air in over the next few days. Now, let's go to the upper levels here later on this week, and this is Thursday morning off of the European run, the 0Z model run of the European this morning. And all right, that's a look at Thursday morning. Notice that piece of energy diving down through the Rockies, and it kind of cuts off back there in the Rockies and the southern plains. Now we go out to 156 hours, and that's all the way out to Sunday morning, and basically this big complex upper level feature is still sitting there on the European run from 0Z. Now the run from 12Z yesterday was quicker in ejecting that. That's the same time frame, 12Z on Sunday morning. So compared the most recent run to the previous run, you can see how it's much slower now. And I just took a look at the 6Z GFS coming in, and it has kind of slowed things down and is more along the lines of the newer European run, with being slower in that timing. Now, we'll get into what that means for the weekend in just a moment. I want to talk about the big picture. Here's a look at the 500 millibar geopotential height up at 120 hours here. So this is Friday evening. Notice you have a nice ridge along, this is off the European model, by the way, nice ridge along the west coast, and that ridge only gets more significant in time, all the way up into Alaska and even north of Alaska as we get toward 204 hours. And the result on the European, these are 850 millibar temperatures. This is Friday morning, and notice what happens as we get all the way up to 240 hours. The coldest there in the hemisphere on the European model is sitting over southeastern Canada, nosing into the northeastern and north central part of the U.S. All right, so let's go day by day. And here we are today. Going to be a very quiet day. Sunshine, highs in the 50s. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the 60s. Wednesday, some clouds increasing and highs upper 60s, maybe even some low 70s in some spots Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, the next system moves through. We'll have at least some shower chance with that system, and then the uncertainty kind of begins. Friday looking like a dry day. And again, this was the 0Z run of the GFS. It is now much slower. The 0Z run brought in some rain on Saturday, and taken at face value, it was close to some wintry precip over the northern North Carolina into the Virginias on Saturday. But again, the 6Z run is much slower, holds the precipitation off until Sunday. And over the weekend, some of the model runs were very impressive. Had a big 1040 millibar high over the northeast, and it was a very, very well-defined cold air damming episode with this over the upcoming weekend. But the models have kind of eased away from that scenario, and with the upper level low being slower coming in, the whole timing is just different. So I mean, there's just no way to have any confidence in the specifics for this weekend and early next week. Now again, back to the 0Z run of the GFS, it brought a low pressure right across the region Sunday morning, and it really, just from what I just said, was able to glance at the 6Z run. It's about 24 hours slower. Let's go to the European model. Saturday is the day that it hits the precipitation chances warm enough for a chilly rain. But I think the pattern we're heading into is one that favors at least the opportunity as we get deeper into February of a couple of winter weather possibilities across the southeast. Nothing is obviously set in stone, but we're entering a pattern where at least it looks like we're going to have a fighting chance of getting some winter weather producing systems across the southeastern and the eastern parts of the country. As for this weekend, I don't know. It's one of those deals where it's probably going to wind up being a rain scenario whenever that upper level low moves in, unless we can get one of those really strong highs in the northeast, like some of the modeling was forecasting over the weekend. So we'll see. Kind of a murky forecast this weekend beyond, but the overall idea here is heading to a west coast ridge, east coast trough, colder pattern of the eastern part of the country as we get deeper into February. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great Monday, and God bless.